set a little bit. And the perception upon arrival was, interesting. Yeah, maybe, possibly, he could be traded. And maybe they would trade him and look for a defensive upgrade in the draft. Defensive upgrades, of course, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. Discover why Pella is a trusted choice for homeowners everywhere. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. With Rich giving you the discount there. Pella.com/Eisen. And noon until 3 Eastern time with Rich. So that was out there for the last 24 hours. Adam Schefter went on the Pat McAfee show, noon until 3 Eastern on ESPN television, and had this to say about the Cleveland Browns and Myles Garrett.
I got a call on Tuesday night. A team called me and they're like, hey, all right, do you see this Myles Garrett thing? I'm like, no, what? They said his option bonuses were shifted around. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, if you're shifting option bonuses around, usually there's like some trade smoke. Now, let me say this. Right away, I called the Browns. I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, we are 100% definitely not trading him. I'm like, okay. Now, I will say this. They were adamant about it. And they're like, don't even bring it up and dignify the fact, because we're not trading him.
Then why did they do this yesterday or 2 days ago?
Maybe they're moving money around to create cap space so they can go after a big fish via trade. Maybe they're going to fall in line with what the other teams around the league have been doing, which is using first-round draft picks like fun coupons and going after proven veteran talent rather than rolling the dice on somebody coming out of the college ranks.
Sure, but teams that are doing that, like the Ravens, are in win-now mode. The Cleveland Browns, not so much.
Yeah, we'd feel differently about the Cleveland Browns if they had a quarterback, right?
Sure.
So maybe they're just laying the groundwork for being able to get the quarterback, whether it's to make the team more attractive or whether it's a situation where they're preparing a year in advance with the pieces that they're going to need for a young quarterback once they draft him. I don't know. I don't have the answer to it, but everybody assumes by moving this money around with Myles Garrett's contract that they're sellers. And I would look at it the opposite way and think of the Cleveland Browns as buyers.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because that was the counter to all of this, right? Spotrac, how I always get Spotrac. Sorry, that's how you say it. They do a tremendous job with the salary cap information. They tweeted out yesterday, the Browns moving back the exercise dates of Myles Garrett's option bonuses freed up zero cap space. The bonuses are already prorated over 5 years for cap purposes and would remain that way if and when exercised. The move does, however, keep all quote-unquote options on the table. I ask again, why did they do this? Are they baiting him to ask out?
Oh, what do you mean?
Why is he on the team? I don't know how many times I have to ask the same question. Why? He's an amazing player. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, assuming the Hall of Fame figures it out by then that like really good players should be in and really good coaches should be in. He's going nowhere with this team. They're going nowhere. They have a golden opportunity to get probably 3 first-round picks from a team. They don't win with him. They cannot win without him. And another team definitively would look at him as, if we get him, we're playing in February. Bills, Chiefs, whoever else you want to, Eagles.
So you're saying that you don't trust Shefty's reporting that they...
No.
I'm asking the question because you just refuted it with the zero cap space. There's also the cash element to it and cash flow for a team's operating budget, but that's neither here nor there. I'm saying you're refuting what Shefty's saying that the Cleveland Browns are adamant that they're not trading Myles Garrett.
Okay, so that clip that we played was much longer, obviously, because he was on with Pat for a lot longer than that. And in that clip, the longer version of it, Adam is adamant that that is what the Browns are telling him, that 100% they are not going to trade Myles Garrett. Okay. That's what the Browns have said.
Okay.
Excuse me. I speak Adam a little bit.
Okay.
Not 100% fluent, but 80% fluent. He left it open for interpretation as to maybe that's what the Browns are telling me now. Maybe that's what their feelings are now. Maybe possibly Myles Garrett comes in, knocks on the door, and says, let's have a discussion about this, Nuno style, right? We got to talk about this. I just don't buy that this is done with altogether, because it doesn't make sense why they did this then for either party. I do believe 100% of what Adam said, that the Browns are telling him in this moment right now, we are not trading him. You're telling me that teams haven't called since this happened, thinking that they have the opening?
No, I'm sure they have.
Okay.
They better be calling.
Yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs have 2 first-rounders this year and a first-rounder next year. Would you give all 3 of them up for Myles Garrett if you're them? So in essence, you're trading Trent McDuffie and 2 first-rounders is how that ultimately works out. McDuffie obviously goes to the Rams in that scenario.
I mean, Myles Garrett and Chris Jones on the same defensive line, they're pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, would you give them Jalen Carter and 2 first-rounders?
I don't know if I'm doing that.
Okay. Jalen Carter piece.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing that.
All right.
Myles Garrett is 30.
If you're the Buffalo Bills, would you give them your next 3 first-rounders?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
That's why I'm saying, how could this be over?
I mean, we say this every single year when it comes to Myles Garrett, and every single year the Cleveland Browns are adamant that they're not moving him, and they don't move him. So, I mean, this is very much taking on the life of I'll believe it when I see it, as far as the Cleveland Browns are concerned. I'm not quite sure why they would make the decision to move the option bonus to later in the year, but I don't know, man. I don't see it. Now, could it be a situation where they decide to trade Myles on the eve of the regular season, similar to what we saw the Cowboys do with Michael Parsons? Sure. If a team comes along and blows you away and they offer you 3 first-round draft picks for a 30-year-old defensive end, you'd be foolish not to take it. So I think anything short of that, though, the Cleveland Browns should stand firm in holding on to Myles Garrett because he's that damn good.
Will we change our minds on this come June? Like if A.J. Brown gets moved post June 1, Eagles suddenly have more cap flexibility. They lose Jalen Phillips. You don't think we're going to start to connect those dots?
Right. So what you're saying is the Eagles may have the hypothetical 3 first-rounders, but 2 in this year's draft. If you see, this is where it's tricky.
I'm saying right now we might not. Right now, what Adam is saying, I'm with. I don't think the Browns are moving him.
Yeah.
Ask me a couple months from now, and maybe my stance changes based on how moves across the league bear out and the dominoes fall.
Yeah, I mean, this draft is crazy because if we were talking about the draft from a couple of years ago with 6 quarterbacks going in the first round, then all of a sudden, if you can get multiple first-round draft picks, it's something more tangible.
Yeah, you want future
It's something
picks,
that's more
right?
impactful. It's something that's more valuable. Nobody loves this draft.
No.
There are players in this draft, as there are with every draft, but this is not qualified or characterized as a deep draft. So having more draft picks in this draft, I don't know if it necessarily moves the needle for a team in the Cleveland Browns that is a year away from being a year away. So if you're Cleveland, yeah, they can dangle, 3 first-round draft picks, but if you're talking about having multiple picks in this draft and then maybe one in a future year where you don't know where that first-round pick is going to land, I don't know if that's really that attractive. So, and again, if it gets to the point where we're talking about, Myles Garrett being traded for 3 first-round draft picks, again, the Cleveland Browns would be foolish not to take that deal. But anything short of that, I can understand why the Cleveland Browns were firm in not wanting to move on from Myles.
Coming up, could a GOAT be coming back? We'll get to that next. We're on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.
The 2026 NFL Draft.